my name is Kristen Martin, and I am in Dr. Deanna Zell's EEX 4070 for the spring semester of 2020, and this is my Teachers in Action PowerPoint. For my TIA assignment, I chose to help a family in need during the coronavirus pandemic outbreak with homeschooling their 3 children. The 3 children I worked with were a girl who was 7 and in 1st grade, a boy who was 10 years old and in the 3rd grade, and a 12-year-old boy in the 6th grade. Some of the responsibilities I had while working with these kids were keeping them on track with all of their lessons and schoolwork, creating my own lessons and activities, assisting them when they needed it, maintaining a schedule and a routine just like a normal school day. And my biggest challenge was keeping track of the 10-year-old boy and making sure he was doing as he needed with his schoolwork. He had ADHD and had to be guided and redirected quite often. So this was a bit of a challenge for me. As for some of the activities that I had to do for this TIA assignment, once again, it was during the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, which caused all of the schools to shut down, meaning I was to help with these children 5 days a week from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. I came across this volunteering opportunity after talking with one of my fellow students at UCF, who was also homeschooling due to the pandemic. She knew of a family who needed the help, so I reached out and started working with their children the next day. I am currently still working with them and hope to finish out the school year with them and possibly work with them over the summer. My responsibilities when working with these students include grading their assignments, having them log on to their Zoom meetings, assisting with their classwork and instruction, communicating with teachers and parents, organizing lessons and a schedule, and most importantly, keeping them on their grade level and keeping them on track. So as previously discussed, I work with 3 children. The youngest is 7 and she's in the 1st grade. The middle child is 10, he's in the 3rd grade, and the oldest is 12, he's in the 6th grade. The 3 children are Jewish and they belong to an upper class family. Both parents work full-time and the children's father is a CEO of a company and works quite often. The 3 children attend a private school where the girl was retained in kindergarten, and now the 10-year-old boy is being considered for retention in the 3rd grade. Earlier this year, he was diagnosed with ADHD. After being diagnosed and beginning his medication, he's been able to focus much more and be much more successful in school, but out of the comfortability of his teachers and parents, they're considering him repeating the grade just in case. These are some of the images of a few of the activities we've done, as well as 2 of the kids performing the activities. They are each assigned several Zoom meetings a day with teachers and several lessons to follow along with, but we also create some of our own activities and lessons during this COVID-19, including this COVID-19 time capsule. I also spend quite a bit of my time while they're on their Zoom calls creating a schedule for the 3 of them and emailing back and forth with their teachers when needed. When it comes to some of the challenges I faced while working with the 10-year-old who had a disability, I can honestly say that we had our good days and we had some bad, but we learned from both. Sometimes during the week, he will forget to take his medications, and I find those to be our hardest days because he is so easily distracted, and I have to redirect him and repeat myself quite often. His brother and sister don't understand his condition completely, and they just find him to be quote-unquote annoying and constantly give him a hard time. I have found that he sometimes has trouble controlling his anger and his feelings, and I think that part of that is because the people who he's closest with, especially at times like this when he's quarantined with them and he can't be with his friends, don't quite understand his condition and that he cannot help some of his actions. I've made quite a few connections between working with these kids and our EEX 4070 course and its textbook. One of the connections I've made is exactly how important it is to be patient with children, especially those with disabilities, because they don't often receive that patience and the positive attention they need in order to succeed from others who may not understand them. I've also learned that connecting and communicating with the child, parents, and their educators is also extremely important because they may know things that you don't and can in the long run help you educate the child and be successful. Flexibility, adaptation, and accommodations are also extremely important with all children, especially those with disabilities. One of the most important connections I've made, though, is the different kinds of tools and management tools that I can use when working with children with disabilities. After this course, I've gathered that children with ADHD love to be active and feel the need to move around, and we don't want to take that away from them and make them uncomfortable. So instead, we need to accommodate them and give them the tools necessary to be comfortable. I was extremely lucky to come across this volunteer opportunity and work with such amazing children. Volunteering in your community and being civically involved is so important as a citizen, and we're expected to do our part, but especially in times like these when people really need the help. I feel as though it would be silly for me to not use this time and my education to help people, but I know it can be difficult for some people, especially with their schedules. But we need to remember that if we want to make a change in the world, that we need to do things like this, and honestly, it shows our students how important it is to be a good civilian and how to volunteer and the importance of it. Doing stuff like this can open doors and opportunities as well as give a person a rewarding feeling and help them to feel humble. My final thoughts and reflections for the TIA assignment were that working with these children under these circumstances, and especially with one having a disability, has been extremely rewarding and such an educational experience. I've learned so many different hands-on things with these children that I know I can use in my career as an educator. I've learned to be more patient and empathetic, how to be more understanding, and most importantly, how to accommodate a child and knowing when they need those accommodations. These days, the best way to find volunteer opportunities is by reaching out through social media and networking with others.